Fresh. Come on. All right, we're live. Good morning, Jake.
Oh, good morning. I didn't even have a chance to put a decorative cover up. All right, whatever. Um, Good morning, everybody. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Making Turbo Pit Fighters, sci-fi post-apocalyptic comic book. Um, we did an episode on Friday for Juneteenth because I was off of school, and now we're back here on our regular Sunday. I'm going to go live on YouTube so we can say hi to anybody that may come across us in the comments. I think this is no, this is not us. I Are we live on YouTube?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it right here on
Okay, I found it. All
right.
right, we're all set. Yeah. So some pretty good news. For the update, I'm working on this Quark file, which is the inside covers and all of the interior pages, the zine pages, and I've finished everything. I am going to read it. I am going to read to you so we can just kind of like go over it together and
Can you
double
do me
check.
one better? Can you do me one better? Can you send me pages? Can you send me copies of the pages? Because
Well, what I'm finding,
anything you
yeah.
say, if I don't have a visual attached to it, it just doesn't process for me. So
Well, I didn't want to send you the rough draft. I wanted to finalize the copy.
just send me the rough. Like send me these pages, please.
I can't print from this computer.
No, don't, you don't. You just have to. You just have to export it out as like a PDF or something.
Yeah, well, if I save all the pages as a PDF, then I have to put it on a thumb drive, and so that means I need to disconnect either my camera or my mic. Um, and I was just planning to just read some copy to you to just finalize the copy.
So Jake,
So,
I really I got to get this across to you. My my dyslexia, if you will, I have to have a visual with my audio. If I don't have a visual with my audio, you could talk all day long and I won't have a clue what you're talking about. It's just the way my brain's wired.
well, we
So,
talk for 3 hours a day, and you don't have anything written in front of you. I mean, I'm just
but that
talking
but
to ask to like a sounding board some questions. I didn't want you to like proofread it or anything.
yeah, but that would be the optimal, wouldn't it?
Um, I got it as far as grammar and spelling and everything. I mean, here's an example. This page right here, I have the pinups, and I just need to know this is going to say Turbo Pit Fighter sketch by Noah of Black Sparrow, or is that the name of his company, or
Like I
what
said,
what
I
how do
need
we,
I can't see anything. Like I can't. I hate to be a dick right now, but
well,
I
so
just
let me
if
put this in the form of a question. What's Noah's company called?
it's a Black Arrow Society.
Black Arrow. Okay, Arrow Black Sparrow. Okay, so that's all the kind of clarification I'm looking for. Black Arrow. This will read. I'll make this real big. Turbo Pit Fighter sketch by Noah of Black Arrow. Is that how we want to say it?
Society.
Black Arrow Society.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And then we got Ralph over here. So this is before we go to printouts, before we go to final page, just like, basically just asking, what do we write here? Turbo Pit Fighter sketch by Ralph Nixon of.
I believe. Well, I mean, here's matter of fact, because we have some talking about him to do. I believe it is. I believe he does it under Angels of Renaissance. Though I've seen, I mean, most of his channels is was it 7 October? Let me check on Instagram.
Okay. And I'm going to, and so once we get these little captions and everything sorted out,
Yeah, 7th
really,
October is usually. I don't think he's going to have any problem with us just putting down 7th of October or Under God.
you tell me what to write, and I'll write it.
I would do Under God.
Ralph Nixon,
Junior, yeah.
Ralph Nixon Jr., creator of Under God.
Yeah.
Okay, if I could spell it right, that would be nice. Under God is two words.
2 words.
Really?
Yep, it's right here in front of me. Because I just talked to him a couple days ago. So
the space in between the R and the G.
1 space between the R and the G. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have that. Now, I'm going to kick this over a little. And now we have Turbo Pit Fighter sketch by this was Gautam, right?
Yeah, got him Shioran.
So I think I'm going to do knockout type on this one, and a nun background. Yeah, like that. Because we could put this up high here. It's pretty dark. We'll make this 10-point type, and I need to know how to spell his name. Turbo Pit
Gautam.
Gautam.
Shioran.
Sheoran.
Yeah, and then I would put him down as of Pixel to Pulp to Pixel. That's his brand.
Number two.
Number 2 Pixel. Yeah, all one word.
Yeah. All right. This one was a little tough because it takes up a lot of space with just like this background.
Yeah.
But
you could bring it. I mean, it seems pretty decent there, laid out.
Yeah. I'm just showing the whole thing.
Yeah, that looks great, Jake. That looks really great.
All right. Now, so this is our Turbo pinup page, and now we have our captions. So here we just have like a business card size ad, and I asked Alex,
okay,
what does he want to say or what does he want to plug?
Cool.
I should check if he got back to me. We only talk for some reason. We only talk on Instagram, and I would much rather just talk by text. It's God's honest truth. But let's see if I go on Instagram. He says he's gonna send it to my email. All right. So all right. So now we have to look at some pages, but I don't want to leave you hanging without anything to do. So I wonder before we do anything.
Okay.
If you look at this, all right. So here's what we have. The first page is the inside front cover. This is all done. I Was Rescued by the Casualties by Charvel Vore. This is the lead-in page to the Casualties 6-pager by Ken Landgraf. And we have a very simple indicia right here that says Do Magazine #1, published by Do Magazines, copyright 2026, Jacobs and Kurt Brugel, domags.com, creator submissions, jake@heldclaw.com. Or I could change that to
That's fine. That's fine.
Neither one of those emails is working all the time, by the way.
Well, the both at works, right? Because that's what we're using for for your Substack.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea, but I
because
I
we would both get the email.
Yeah.
So nothing's going to get lost if anybody decides to email, which is usually a second or third form of communicating nowadays. It is usually Instagram and or texting. Usually Instagram is first because you might not have the person's phone number once you exchange phone numbers.
Right, and I could say inquiries, and creator submit inquires inquiries and creator submissions. Both of them. All right. So, all right. Here, back cover. It's Ken Landgraf with no commentary. I did put a Do Magazine's tattoo on Turbo's leg here.
That's cool.
Let's try and straighten that out. Next, this is the lead-in page for the Duke. So wherever this is going to be placed, we have to place it. And we have the two images and then a bunch of text. And this is a lot of text about Duke's life, although we don't hardly get into half of what we have written. It's just kind of like a summary. And then it says, so this is the lead-in page, and the last sentences, but what follows is the unknown truth about his final mission, a frontal solo attack on the De Huberton secretive underground compound the public would know nothing about for decades, ... And it says, written by Jake Jacobs, pencils, inks, co-scripting, Alexander Turbin, inks and tones, Kurt Brugel. So, if that's all cool. Now, we have, after the Duke sequence, 11-pager, we'll have this gigantic pinup, and it says, early concept sketch for the Dukeomaton. Tune in next time to see the battle at De Huberton HQ. Find out how the Duke meets his end in the hidden De Huberton compound. Now we have this page, which is repeating what we did last time in the last 2-page back matter stuff, except it's all updated. And so here's what we have to go over. Now you can see there's a little text, and I'll try to read this to you, just a sounding board. You don't. I think it's all done, but maybe you'd hear something out of sort. Here we have the end of the world timeline with all the bullet points. Those are updated. And then down here, we have this third of a page or a little bit less than a third of a page ad. And it says cromthebarbarian.com. Barbarians at the Gates is going to be the headline. All right, now why am I stopping here? Because this is a sketch that I made. I'll show it to you nice and big in blue line pencil. And I could pencil this. It'll probably take me 10 minutes, maybe 7 minutes, maybe 5 minutes actually, to pencil this. And here's what it is. It is a picture of the female protagonist for the 9-pager. It has like a little
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Crom. The cover of the last Crom collected right here. So this is basically like an ad, right?
Sure.
And then down at the bottom, cromthebarbarian.com, and we'll leave it blank so I can put the copy in Quark. Okay. And the headline will be Barbarians at the Gates, and then it'll be who is. Now, I want to go over something with you real quick right here, right now.
Sure.
The name of this character, because she will actually be more important than the Barbarian.
Right.
And I had a couple of suggestions, just running it by you to see if this is all cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to call her Naja, Najja, the healer. Naja, the healer. Is that okay?
No.
No, you don't like it?
I don't like that. Yeah. It's
right, well,
yeah. I mean, it's it doesn't really Jive.
I just need a name for her. So
Yeah, I got you.
I'm gonna haul off and pencil this so I could scan it and ink and you could and send it to you live during the show.
Well,
here.
if you can listen, if you can give me a really squared off, equally lit photo and send it to me, then I can actually start working on that right after I put the rest of my inks down on page
yeah,
one.
I can give you a scan of it.
Scan of what? That?
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna gray line pencil it real quick.
Okay, all right. Now, when it comes to like names, the only reason I responded the way I did to the Naja thing is
I love that you have a reaction.
Yeah, no, I know
That's
you do, but yeah, because there is a very tropey way in Sword and Sorcery and like Sword and Planet out of the pulps to just sort of like randomize the letters to sound exotic, I guess. My thing is it still has to have a
ring to it.
Not a ring, a sense of like realness to it. Just a second, I get water here. So, for instance, one of the characters in, it's Crom and Dravanus, right? So Dravanus is that kind of like amalgamating the Roman, IUS type of thing, but the Drew was basically kind of pushing together the Druid thing. So that was sort of the way I try to design that. But like for her, it's like I'd rather her have something a little more weighty in like an ancient feeling to the name, something
okay, well,
like
let's
not Joth, like maybe like not Joth, which is also a little too like leaning towards the H.P. Lovecraft Cthulian thing where you put the oath, O-T-H, but
that doesn't sound very female though.
Well, I think that's the other thing. The other thing I like is just a little bit of like skewing. I gotta see this like nah.
I mean, as we ponder this, we also have to
or Najos. Are
you talking?
What? Yeah, Najos. 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 Nah.
I mean,
it's Najatha.
Najatha?
Najatha or just Jatha. I like Jatha.
That sounds old for sure.
Yeah, no, it's the ancient. It's that ancient. And then that's kind of like, because the Naja thing had that Nagi or, that kind of like Nagi, like East Indian Hindu kind of like feel, which I'm vibing off of. But Jatha could be interesting. Or Jotha.
So as we're pondering this, one other thing we need to ask is what's the name of the guy? And I named.
I thought it was Crom. I thought he was Crom.
Right. Okay. So that's Crom, but he's having this dalliance with this healer in this town, and he sires a whelp. Right.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
there's plenty of that in my pantheon, my canon, as I've been writing out ideas and thoughts. Because one of the things that's always pissed me off, in a sense, is how many stories have not been published but have probably been written and submitted for Conan the Barbarian comics and Savage Sword. That is the child. The person is the antagonist is the child of him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether it's male or female. Now, there have been stories where they've kind of run a father-child type of dynamic, but they've never really when he's King Khan is Konn, I think is his name, is his son. He actually gets backstories in King Conan comics, but I'm talking about like illegitimate, one night stands and the offspring from that. Like I've got a couple. I literally have like a couple dozen ideas and like 2 or 3 things laid out, for future Crumb anthologies, playing around with that.
Yeah,
and
I can't wait to write the the second part of this.
Yeah.
But where they're fighting side by side and it's just a little kid, But
yeah, well, the other thing too, and this is a spoiler, so stick your fingers in your ears, people, if you don't want to hear this. But one of the things that dynamically in story arc telling and having these children coming up and either antagonizing him or partnering with him is they most definitely die.
Oh,
that's like one of the things. Like that's
how they keep it clean.
Well, no, because it's a part of the cycling that I'm using in order to get Crumb to become a dark god. Like that's my whole mission with my Crumb is to write this silly little 1950s barbarian that was supposed to be Conan the Barbarian as the first comic book, Sword and Sorcery and Conan, but it wasn't allowed or feared of copyright infringement. But then you get this Crumb who is not an actual god, let's say, in any other pantheon other than like Ireland, but was not, this like Valhallan Norseman, so Robert E. Howard, basically just stews together and stitches up, this god. But the bigger part of it for me is that the original god commanded, the Irish god commanded child sacrificing. So that's what I've been sort of trying to use as like a navigating tool. So I went immediately to, oh, wow. Then I guess like all these whelps that he as offspring from like one night stands or staying a couple days or months in a specific town, these children would arise and would either not give a shit about him because he's not around or seek him out.
Right. Here's a question. What is, I know for the purposes of what you're doing, you're making a comic or you're making a comic anthology or a series or whatever, but what is a god? What does he wake up and do on 9 o'clock on every Monday morning? What is and what isn't a god? So for your purposes, you want the god you want it to be like more like Thor, where like he has got adventures and he's got powers, or
no,
or do you want it to be
not. There's so there's 3 here. Let me bring it out here. It's right here. Isn't it right? So the first answer I can give is that a god is very much in the thing I like the most about gods, let's say, are the Norse and Greek, where they have and are a part of human society. So they're not so much deity driven. In other words, that they're let's say summoned upon and stuff. I mean, that is a part of it, but the movie Immortals is like when I've seen that movie like 100 times, and it's really only because the way it's writing these gods that we know of,
Yeah.
they go through their own lives as we would, but the consequences of their lives, like death, for instance, is not final, right? So when we die, we're all gone. But when gods die, they just end up regenerating and coming back. The the setup that I have for me, I don't put this on anybody else that's in the Crom anthology, is Crom's life is broken down into 3 compartments prior to him becoming a god. So there's the youthful part where he's like literally a teenager in the jungle with the Asirs, and they haven't even really got going in the way of like the caravanning, Norse kind of like marauding thing. Then there is the adventurous Crom, which is, I think I put here it is, adventurous Crom, which are all the basically the Gardner Fox, John Gwynta stories. And then I illustrated a prose called the Warlock of Shardor, but just basically rewrote it with Crom. And the ending of this story, when I first read it, was like, oh, this is totally a sword and sorcery story. But all these elements in there, I wanted to integrate into Crom's life and keep Fox's voice alive. But he has a transformative interaction with an entity, not a god. It's an entity named Norleifin that he then spends the rest of his journeying bearding up and getting and going through these very challenging times where he's questioning things, not vocally, just in a, like, let's say, a spiritual existential crisis. And those stories end up pushing him. This is where the children start coming out, and this starts pushing him closer and closer to the transformative event that will then have him become this god, which means the immortality key is unlocked.
So, morning to Saboteur. Happy Father's Day. Thank you. I'm going to get my my annual muffins baked. Probably not today, but so what you're saying is he's walking around a regular human. He's on a journey, and when he dies, he'll become like remembered, like a saint, maybe.
Nope.
Like
he doesn't die. So that's the whole thing with like God transformation. It's basically the idea of entering, transitioning from being mortal to immortal.
Right, but let's face it. I mean, that's all just lore, right? That's all just.
It's called fantasy.
Yeah. Right,
even religion's fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, so we have, I mean, we look in the comic book pantheon, we have lots of gods that they make comics about. And I guess the first one was Thor, but you go to Hercules and Odin and everybody. They're walking around, they're walking and talking, and they have powers like a superhero. I think that's what Stan Lee spoke about in his Origins of Marvel Comics. Like, really, what's the difference between a superhero and a god, right? And then we have, a lot of consideration about like Galactus and the High Evolutionary. It was a character that Jack Kirby invented. They all do different things, but what is a god? And I wanted to ask you that, for your purposes, for Crom, and get the definition. And your your answer was long, and it was a little unsatisfying. So what's the shorter version? What's the takeaway version? Because there's Crom, and then there's other gods too.
Yes, I'll let that word gods and deities and spiritual mystical entities all be in that same package. In other words, the division is simple as this: you have mortals and immortals. So until Crom passes his transformative phase, that transformative phase is leading him to becoming a god, which is basically gaining more immortality.
And so what happens if somebody takes a sword and puts it through his neck?
Before this point, he's dead.
Okay. So yeah, but that isn't that what we do with saints? We after they're dead, we canonize them, and we I
don't do that. I personally don't do that. If you're into that, that's cool. But yes, no, I do understand. I do understand the there's a variety out there that people can latch onto. I am very comic book fantasy driven in my, like, even in my everyday mind. I'm always like skeptical of things, or if I'm observing something and judging it, it usually runs through a comic book fantasy filter. Oh, that guy could be working for the mob, or that guy could be associated with the FBI, or you know what I mean, which slides into why I love conspiracy theories so much, because that's the beautiful thing about a good, really well designed conspiracy theory is it blurs the reality lines. You're just like, yeah, that is true, but it's not.
Right.
You know, like I love that kind of like storytelling. So I am very, but I'm also very conscious at this point that I do not want to write the ending concretely and then drive my story to it. So if somebody ran a sword through Crom and killed him, then I would have to write something in the way of resurrecting him. But he would not gain immortality. In my approach, that would be my immediate reaction if somebody gave me the ending of a story and said, "Oh, he's dead. You know, what are you going to do?" I'll be like, "Oh, that's awesome. Give me some time and figure it out," because that's also comic book, right? Comic book is not this definitive thing.
Yeah, and I like how you're taking basically, you know, Conan's utterances, you know, for ever since the beginning in Conan comics, you know, he's been saying by Crom's beard, by Crom's sword, you know, blah blah blah, and so you're working that around, you know, to make him, you know, the god that people reference and maybe pray to or whatever, but or sacrifice to, whatever. But to me, this is a very interesting question, and I would love to ask this same question to Alex Turbin, because Alex Turbin, you know, as one of his stated projects, I don't know if he's finalizing it or getting around to whatever, but he asked a bunch of people to contribute like a pinup of a series he was doing on like the new gods or something, right? And I was like, all right, we can contribute that to that. And you know, what would happen if we made one of our existing characters a god in his world? You know, just like Crom could be, he could have his own story adventures in his comic, but then he could be a god in in Conan, you know, and Red Sonja and whoever else. So I mean, cause anything goes. We're just spinning yarns here, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I was wondering, you know, how to handle this, because when I first made, you know, I was just saying, well, let me make a barbarian story here, and you know, it kind of wrote itself. And then I was like, well, what's the name of the barbarian? Can this be Crom, or does it have to match the continuity? So I said, you know, what if we call him like Julius the Barbarian or something, you know? and or Julius Schwartz, the Barbarian, or Julius
I'm
Abramovich.
not, and that's a very Marvel way of going about making a comic book, which I never fell into. Even when I was obsessed, and I guess still I am quasi obsessed with putting something into the Conan canon, I really don't give a shit if this was written over here and that's canon and you can't. That basically is a wall that you cannot be penetrated or climbed. Like, that's anti-creativity to me. I believe that there was a time in the 70s and 80s, I think very much specifically with Marvel Comics, because that was really any mainstream comic I would read, Conan being specifically one of them, is that there would be continuity holes. Somebody would catch somebody and then write a letter in and say, hey, Stan, you kind of fucked up because in Fantastic Four 73, you said this and so did this. Then you contradict it in issue 123 by saying this. And so Stan, in Marvel Comics, basically in their creative model, now has to take that challenge on. And I love that. That to me is way more exciting.
Yeah, that's why they made all the alternative worlds, right?
Right. Well, that was the get out of jail card free, right?
Yeah.
That was them saying like, oh, geez, like, really, fanboys? Like, really, we got to write a whole issue explaining why these two things contradict themselves between 17 years of continuity. Oh God. Okay. Well, here's the fast and cheap way out. Right. It's a parallel universe. Well, which is very like, if you're a real fan, you're not trying to do the gotcha on your heroes, let's say, the ones that are making it. You're very much doing your best to contribute by feedback / criticism. That's also, I believe, a very divided way of creativity, being one where it's community driven and it's really honest with how it's interacting, having a group of people being so generous enough to pay money to have the comic book, to own the comic book, and not like basically just saying, screw you guys for putting this next comic book out, buy it or not. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, oh man, okay, well, okay. And that's what happened to me in the mid 90s with Conan, is I felt the severe shift away from us Conan fans, sword and sorcery fans. And it just sort of went, you were like, what the? And Jim Shooter started it all, because he did not want all of the dark art, black magic, pronounced inequality to Conan. He wanted, and Conan just basically having to forcibly triumph or at least make his way through it. He had to be a superhero. He had to act on moral principles that were going to then ultimately have a person at the end go, whew, good people always are prevail, which is, the other reason I can't stand, Disney movies, is because that's the lie, right? That's the lie that we're actually given.
We had this conversation before about, I always bring this up in relation to The Sopranos and Sons of Anarchy, and then somebody in the comments brought up Breaking Bad. But when you're a barbarian, I mean, there's an expression, barbarians at the gates. They're like killers, they're marauders, they're savages by definition, right? So, and then you also have all of these stories like Conan the Thief, right? And the Conan movie was like they were thieves and they were trying to break in.
Well, he has because all of the stories were not written in a linear fashion. In other words, Sword on A Phoenix on the Sword, which was an original Cole story, was converted almost in a way to just make some money, if you will, to contribute to Weird Tales or Robert E. Howard. So he changed the name and then changed a couple of aspects of it and made him a king. And so but the story itself, I do remember reading the comic first and really dismissing it, being like, this is kind of, it's about a bunch of like, whining royalty of Aquilonia, fearing they're going to lose all of the things that they had gained in manipulating, the royal court, and getting money and all this stuff. So Conan was coming in, as a barbarian to become king, which meant he had no background in what it meant to be, politically allied with people and dealing with the hierarchies of court, where he then vowed to basically stomp that out. So then the whole story is them raising a demon in order to have him murdered in the middle of the night, which they also are part of it, and he ends up killing everybody, including the monster, which is exactly the formula I believe people fell in love with when it came to sword and sorcery. It's not about him being a hero. He usurps the Aquilonian throne. He's not given it because he's a good, cool guy. Then he has to go through a change. He knows he has to go through a change, which the King Conan comics are really well done, because he's a family man, but he is at his heart, his core, a barbarian, like you said, free, very.
I remember having a paperback in my hand called Conan the Usurper.
Yes.
Yeah, and another thing I point out is, in the Conan movie, I remember a quote where he's meeting up with these two other guys, and he's like, the guy goes, "I am Subutai, archer and thief," and I remember as a little kid saying to myself, a thief? Like, where's the morality? Like, I remember because I got in trouble when I took $20 from the paper towel roll. We used to hide it inside the paper towel roll, and we used to hide some cash in there. And I remember taking $20 without telling anybody, and I got my ass whipped for that. So I had that thing, we shouldn't know, we're not stealing and everything. And then my flag went up, my little internal moral compass went up, like, oh, he's a thief. Who is he stealing from? And if they say, well, I'm stealing from the king, all right, well, that's arguably socialism or Robin Hood or whatever, right? But does the guy just steal from anybody? Does he steal from poor people and children? And does he take lollipops right out of a kid's hand? So all those kind of questions go flashing in my mind when I hear that. But who could forget the iconic line, "I am Subutai, archer and thief." Like, I am Conan. It's like the greatest movie. All right. So this is all I'm going to send you. I'm going to scan this whole thing, but this is all tight pencils. I'm going to scan it right now and send it over. Okay?
Can you scan? I mean, you said scanner? You're going to use the scanner?
Yeah, I'm scanning.
Okay, but also give me page 2 at the same time, since you'll be on the scanner.
All right, but you didn't finish page 1 already, did you?
Please give me page 2.
No, I'll give it to you.
Just you're already. I should use the rest of this episode for you scanning the pages, because I'm tired of begging for the scans.
Well, I was just wondering if you're all caught up, in terms of how long it takes you to ink, because usually you would take a whole episode and it wouldn't even be one page. But if you're doing, I don't know.
Yeah, but isn't it just easier on you to just spend a period of time scanning a bunch of pages, if not all of them, and then just dumping them on me?
that's an interesting.
Because obviously we're dealing with two different methodologies.
Yeah, because what I've been doing the last couple of days is I've been trying to spend every waking hour working on my Pearl White Melody
Right,
and
right.
my Quark file for Doom.
We lost your audio. Lost your audio, Jake. How did we know this was going to happen? Da, da, da. I probably should.
Now, how about now?
I hear you now.
Great. Okay. So yeah. No, I've been.
So you're working on Pearl White Melody, which once again I completely respect because you're finally to the point where you're at the last 100 meters. And
you told me to do it.
now it's no. Here we go again. It's all my fault. I told you.
No, I mean I got it. I'm spread very thin and I'm very ADD. So
I got you, brother. We're in the same choir. We're in the same choir. One's a baritone and one's a soprano. I don't know who's who. But the thing about it is, like, in workflow, I am a work in batches of materials, like, for instance, like waves of, how about that? Like waves of. So you have 25 pages of the second issue penciled. So if I had 25 pages of scans, the scans of those 25 pages, yes, I would be good for another, gosh, what is that? Like, let's just even say 4 months, 3 pages. God, 7, 8 months right there. That's like, and you don't ever have to worry about it until you finish page 26, 7, 8, 9, and 30. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way I perceive things. I can't make you do anything. I can't express frustration, but to wait every morning on Sunday to figure out how I'm going to get the next thing I'm going to be working on for the next 8 to 9 months will drive me batshit crazy, to the point where I'll just start working on Conan pages on Sundays.
You mean Chrome? Yeah. So that's a totally valid answer. And you do kind of what I do is you jump around pages.
Yeah, you said ADD.
Right, ADD. Right. So that's fine. I'm going to. And that's why I should give you more scans, but
thank you. At least you see it. At least you're now responding to it.
But I'm also in a time crunch, and I don't know if I should be more desperate here, because I'm looking at, it's June 21st today. Yeah. I need to get something to the printer and back by July 11th, and I'm leaving in a rented car on July 9th. Like, I'm trying to figure out how's this all going to work.
I had said earlier that, when I did say, let's get Pearl White Melody done, that was very much in me saying, hey, I'm here to contribute. But we also need to just plan in a way of like, hey, can we make time where for the next 3 episodes, we're working on what needs to get worked on. Because, the respect has to always be here for use, but more specifically, but just as well as myself, that we only work on Sundays from 10 to 1. There's times when you go and do your Substack live, and that's awesome. But, we really just show up. I mean, I show up at like 9:30 at my computer and start putting everything together for the podcast. And sometimes I'm like doing it right down to the last minute, or as I'm learning OBS, I've screwed something up and then got backtrack and make sure we get back on track. But, the respect needs to be, A, we're only doing this every Sunday, and B, there should be little to no stress, Jake. I mean, in all sincerity, what I said to you about Pearl White Malady having copies in your hands is they have to go to the printer by the end of the month. So if you really want to say anything in the way of deadlines for yourself, in other words, if you can't meet it on the 29th of this month, then you're just going to have to back away from it and not stress yourself out.
Well, I'll be able to do that. I can do that. I'm on track to do that. I did 10 pages yesterday.
Right.
Of Pearl White Malady. So, and I only have like maybe 12 left or something. And then it's just like, how much time does it take to get printed and then ship? That's the only question.
Like I said, it's going to be like a week and a half. That I always put 2 weeks in that time frame. And for like Lulu or even Mix'em, I put like a 5-day notification in Google Calendar. So 5 days from the day that I put it in the order, if I have not received any indication from those printers that they printed or shipped, then I send them an email and say, what the hell's going on? And they all respond with the same thing.
Well, they have this upcharge too if you're in a rush.
Don't do it.
Don't
do it. You'll get screwed.
Yeah.
You'll get screwed because you'll get screwed on the, oh, sorry, we missed it. You know what I mean? Here's a $10 coupon. I had that happen to me, and it really sucks. Now the $10 coupon, the free shipping coupon's great and everything, but I still got screwed at the end of it because I was paying extra to get these things in on a reasonable period of time. But just because you pay for it doesn't mean it happens in this world.
Right.
So once again, give yourself 2 weeks, and 2 weeks would be the 29th to the 9th, into July, waiting for those books to get to you.
That's less than 2 weeks.
What? You're talking, let me just check my calendar here.
The 29th to the 9th is less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, excuse me. Yeah, that is less than, so yeah, then if you wanted to do 2 weeks, then you have the 25th. You would have to get into the printer on the 25th of June, which is Thursday of this week.
Interesting.
That's all I'm saying. That's just the way I make the calculation. I said the 29th because I was like, oh, okay, we still have the 30. I thought there was a 31st involved too. So.
All right, I have the scan. I'm saving the scan. It's probably too big and too high res, more than you need, but who knows what this scan could be used for later. Can you? I don't know if this is a big ask, but can you superimpose the Crom magazine on the right-hand side and then send it back to me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can definitely do that. Oh, absolutely. I would absolutely do that. Yeah.
All right, but then you're just leaving the space in the middle for text, which I'll put in Photoshop.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Quark.
All
right, yeah. I am now sending to you. Now, we didn't, thanks to our ADD or ADHD, we did not finalize the name, but when I was just typing the name of the file, literally the name of the file, I just wrote Najarith. I don't know. So
see now that I like.
Let's get back to that discussion.
So yeah, here, wait. Let's spell that. I gotta see it. Najarith as an I.
Could be.
Or what about Najari? No if. Because I also try to stay. I try to stay under five letters.
Yeah, Najari.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, Najari.
What do you guys think in the chat? Oh, there's only Saboteur in the chat. What do you think about Najari? Najari. As a name for a female the healer. And she'll always have her potions and stuff. All right, it says 7 meg, so this is coming in an email. Najari, and we could also go with the double A.
Oh, Naajari.
Could do. I think I just lost whatever progress I just had on Quark. I don't think I made any changes. Yeah, it could be Najari or Najari.
Naajari. Oh boy, I'll have to make this in a soundbite. Or how
does
about
anybody?
Ajari.
Well, let me put in. I'm putting Najari in Google and see what comes up. So there is somebody named Najari Kennedy. There is a doctor named Bobby B. Najari, MD. And yeah, no, there is a Najari name and family history. It is a surname denoting descent from or association with someone called Nazar.
Whoa.
And it says Iran and Afghanistan, and there's nothing else there, so it's free and open except for the urologist. And so yeah, the only question is how to spell it, and we can cross that bridge when you're done with the illustration and I bring it to Quark. But sure, let's so folks, this is our process live on the air. I'm going to get back to Quark now, but we just have to finalize that ad, and then the Alex Turbin, and then we're going to get back to a little bit of sounding board proofreading, and I'm really just reading this back for the first time to myself too, because I think I figured all this stuff out yesterday. Oh, there is somebody on Facebook named Najari Marchman. She is blind in one eye, suffering paralysis on the left side of her body, and is currently bedridden completely and on a painful feeding tube. That is depressing, but looks like somebody in need of a healer. It's a last name again, Sameer Najari, Canadian filmmaker, who works predominantly but not exclusively with his wife, Dominique Chila. Yeah, something bad happened to Najari Marchman. All right, so back to the grind here. You should be getting that email.
I got it. I got it, boss.
All right.
I got it, boss.
Nice. So you can finalize that artwork and then give me the ad. Give me the stay within those boundaries, and then send me the ad. I'll put in the text, and then we'll just be waiting for Alex Turbin.
So did he get back to you by email? Did you see emails from him?
I don't see anything. I mean, we can just put in, check out Mutantis, whatever. We could just Google it.
Nah, he's always good. He's always good at responding. He might be actually working on something. He might be working.
It's got to be done by the time we're going to print. That's all. Yeah,
which at this point is not within like next week or the following.
Oh no, we're done. We're done.
No, we're not. I need to see the files. You can talk all you want about seeing the files. I want the files. Right. I haven't even seen the 8 pages of Turbo. I haven't even seen them written. I have not seen that lettered.
We were supposed to. Well, they're all lettered. We were supposed to art direct that stuff, weren't we?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot more to do, Jake. I really got to press upon that. So,
all right. Well, here is the copy because I want to consider these pages done. So The End of the World Timeline. Welcome to Doom Magazine #1, featuring Turbo Pit Fighter and premiering The Secret Chronicles of the Duke. Then it's The Casualties, featuring Esoterra, Hellclaw, and Cromita, looking to protect genetically unique teens in 2085 from the ruthless pursuit of Dr. Bruno Moroder, rogue Q physicist turned televangelist, along with his devious dart-wielding partner Bianca, committing acts as craven as abduction and forced Q mutation breeding, in league with their multi-trillionaire dehuberton paymasters. Presenting our latest update to the End of the World timeline. No, I'm going to write we present here. We present here our latest update to the End of the World timeline, a turbulent sci-fi chronicle of comics, illustrated text, and original art as we debut new characters and stories, documenting our process all the while in our weekly live streams. And then I just wrote at doommags.com because I don't want to put a long YouTube thing in there. And the doommags.com landing page is just links to all that stuff. That's all that's there on Linktree. So that should be fine. Right. So yeah, it's just some line endings here. We present here our latest update to the End of the World timeline. A turbulent. Just doing some copy fitting here. So yeah, that all reads right.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had to make it all fit without. I want to bring the turbulent in like this there. Oh, good. 99% horizontal scaling did the trick. And I'm oops. Just moving stuff around here. Presenting the latest update of our End of the World timeline. Good. All right, so this is basically just repeating how we had it. So next, we love talking sci-fi as we create, but the future is catching up as quickly as we can imagine it. In 2176, the dehuberton-controlled states and cities will no longer recognize U.S. Gov, nor centuries of laws and social order. All the while tampering with human gene tech, the dehubertons leverage their persuasive pleasure bots to help recruit an all-human mercenary militia known as the RM, who will fight alongside an even larger mechanized combat force. Who, you ask, could ever hope to stand up to such a relentless fascist takeover of society? Presenting the latest update of our ... And then it says the End of the World timeline in big letters. Yeah. And then we have the bullet points. The Casualties, featuring Esoterra, Hellclaw, and Cromita. The Secret Chronicles of the Duke. The Tragic Giantess, Hawkwind. The Tragic Erasure of the Q... Oh, yeah. The Tragic Erasure of the Q Druids. Shankar versus the Pleasure Bots. Full-scale gender war. Resistant cults featuring the Tuesday movement. The Sentients, Masters of Longevity, Shapers of Reality. World in Ruin, the ironic saga of Elevator 2222. Green Pog Farm, Lulu and the Ethos 202. The Rectifier, Elevator Enhanced Super Squadron. The Company Man featuring Pitch Blend. Charvel and the Reality Cleaver. And then finally, Off Earth, Kill Crazy Priests in Space. So That's flooding the zone, and this makes me happy. These are just things
I knew
that are
it.
planned for one day, whenever. And if somebody asks me about it, I can go off at like a drunk at the end of a bar. But that's all there is. But to our credit, we got one is a 6-pager here, one is an 11-pager here.
Yeah.
Hawkwind has plenty of writing and some pinups, maybe like 5 pinups. The Q Druids has tons of writing on a tab on Hellclaw. Shankra has tons of writing and sketches. The Tuesday Movement has I started its own tab. The Sentience has a long tab and a zine page here. So we're moving that along. The Ironic Saga of Elevator 2022. That's another tab with tons of pinups. Green Paws Farm is a full 6-page script, all written, ready to go with tons of pinups. So this could be a zine page very easily. The Rectifiers is all right. I'll admit that's a little bit more in progress, but we have some sketches so far. The Company Man featuring Pitch Blend is all finished. The art is done, pencils and inks.
Yeah, but you have somebody already assigned to it, right?
It's done. I have it upstairs.
It's all done? No, the comic book? The comic book?
6-pager, pencils and inks, were turned in weeks ago, months ago.
But it was, I thought it was just in process.
Sebastian turned it in a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Charbel and the Reality Cleaver. I have at least 5 pinups, and I'm behind on the writing. And then Killed Crazy Priests in Space is a lot of writing I have, but it's from the old days, and I haven't looked at it in a long while. So yeah, we're good on that. And then on the bottom, it's going to be Janari, what, the healer? Najari, the healer. No,
Yeah.
Najari, the healer. Yeah, but it'll say real big, Barbarians at the gates. Because remember, she wakes up and there's like all these dead barbarians at her door, and
Right.
and Crom is knocked out. So that's cool. Yeah, so that'll be fun to plug. All right, next page, Turbo Pit Fighter page. So we have Turbo Pit Fighter sketch by Noah of Black Sparrow. Does he have a last name that we want?
Yeah, it's, what is it, Lassini?
You want to spell that?
I'll
Or do you
find
want
out.
to just... Oh, I lost my changes. Black Arrow Society. I lost all my changes before. Sorry.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, Noah, let me see. I'm just going to do a search on my computer for Noah. I don't have any. Why isn't he in my email? No, yeah, Noah Luciani.
I'm sorry. I have a guy I have a guy I'm associated with through Crom, David Lanciani. Yeah, I think David Lanciani.
I wonder if I should go with another font, because this is the same font that I have all the other stuff in. I might want to do Futura for this. Futura is a little thicker. Futura condensed. Yeah. Like this. All right, and now I need to contour this. All right, and we definitely want to say, yeah, no, this Futura looks horrible. What was I thinking? What font do we like? I like Charter or Georgia. Georgia's really big. Let's make this 10.3. There we go. Sketch by That's 0. I need to move this closer. Get a little closer. Now don't be shy. Get a little closer with arid extra dry. All right. And is this all bold? Yes, it is. It is now. Why do I have an exclamation point? I guess I like that. And let's move this over. Move it on over. And we bring Noah onto one line. This is called copy fitting.
You unplugged your Yeti mic?
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be a different sound than how we started.
Yeah, you get a bit of static. That's the thing that kind of comes along for a while because I think it taxes the system to grab your yodeling.
Interesting. So they're against it.
I don't know. I mean, it's all technology, man. It's all technology. It's just ones and zeros, baby.
Not anymore. The quantum computers are going to be ones and zeros, but it could also be a one. It could be a 1 or a 0 in a potentiality. It could be a 1 or a 0 at the same time, potentially. I'm just going to write turbo sketch. Yeah, that's easier. Okay. Yeah, this fits much better. All right, and his company is called Black Arrow Society, right?
Yeah.
All right. Next, Turbo Sketch by Ralph Nixon Jr. of Under God, right?
2 words.
Right. Georgia. All right. And let's center that. Now let's create a little contoured line here so that we don't hit the hair with a nut background. And then we'll move this over.
So we have to the end of July. I can't remember it. Well, Under God Volume 2 will be coming out, I believe, at the end of this month, if everything goes well. This, of course, is Ralph Nixon Jr.'s Under God 1. Wonderful chit chat with him. Looking forward to have more and more chit chats with him. He was the one of the 3 that submitted a nice little turbo sketch. He reached out and asked if we wanted to submit a 5x8 inch little ad for Turbo to run in, I believe it's going to be volume 3, which I believe is going to come out end of July, beginning of August. So he has been a madman at work. Really excited to get a hold of volume 2 and then 3, because as manga artist goes, he's at the top of my list right now. I just love the way he works things. So we just need to spend a little time just crafting something together. And it would be kind of interesting to take his little sketch there and maybe just run a something or other. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention just to keep it as a motivational conversation.
Yeah. Next, yeah, next week. Well, next week will probably be my craziest week, but the week
Yeah,
after.
no. There's no rush yet. We have till the end of July. We're not going to wait till the end of July.
Oh, okay.
But it's not. Bless him. He's not one of these. Hey, I'm going to print tomorrow. Can you give me an ad?
Yeah,
Guys. So, thank
that's
you,
what I'm
Ralph.
doing. That's what
Thank you,
I'm
Ralph.
doing with Alex. I'm going to print. We're going to print. All right, Turbo Sketch, and this one is Turbo Sketch, but I'm gonna need Gautam's
Name again?
yeah
Gautam.
G-O-T-A
Sheoran. Sheroan.
S-H
Eroan.
S-H-E-R-O-A-N Sharon.
Sheoran.
Shir. That doesn't sound right.
Oh no. R and O's got to flip. Flip your R and O.
Sharon, right? And he's of Pulp to Pixel.
Pulp to Pixel, baby.
Of spelled wrong. Okay. And since this is white text, yeah, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to make it black text instead. And then I'm going to step and repeat in place. 0, 0. And now it's white. And now we make it white. Save that. Oh, these tools. Okay. Okay. Now it has a drop shadow, black drop shadow. So it should be easier to read. Uh-huh. And now hit save. And where am I getting the QR code from?
I have them.
Is that a new one or is that the same one as last time?
They'll be the same. So
It's just going to the, so I could take this from an earlier.
you could also generate them yourself through Google. You just go to the URL and then the 3 dots and then create. Let's see what it is again.
Well, you're sending them to the YouTube landing page, right?
Yeah, you just go to the place you want to go to. So if you go to the URL you want to go to, which is the YouTube at turbopitfighter comic, go to the top right-hand corner of the Google browser, hit the 3 buttons, go down to cast, save, and share, and then go to create QR code. And it'll make a very small, basically the size of that little box that we had for Turbo Teaser 1.
Okay. So down here it says, hang out live with us Sundays, 10 a.m. on YouTube. I guess I should say Eastern time. Making Turbo Pit Fighter. Join Kurt and Jake drawing, inking, and plotting Turbo Pit Fighter comic pages in real time. Comics that influence, reviews, and flip-throughs of the best comics, mags, and books Kurt and Jake can find. Indie Creator Exchange. Get to know a ton of other indie artists, writers, publishers, and comic reviewers. Maybe I should put retailers in there. Or collectors. Let's see retailers. But no, not really. All right. All right. So on my to-do list for this page, everything's done except for the Mutandis business card and the barcode. Now look at
barcode.
This page. Oh, the QR code.
QR code. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Check out this page. The Sentient Dome. Life Extended.
Wow.
So when does it end? Yes, human life will someday extend past 150 or even 200 years, but for who? The answer lies within the sentient dome. And then down here, so this is like a good half-page illustration, and then I have this lettering that we did at the top. Now it says 2200. The new century brought renewed hope for human progress and coexistence with the unveiling of the sentient dome. Built by the world's most renowned longevity scientists and guarded by a towering sentry aside its two adjoining server domes, the project shattered previous notions of age, health, and mortality in a covenant to merge science and policy making. All right, now that's the first stanza. The architects were themselves over 110 years old, chosen for their irreplaceable brilliance. Riva Novogorda was a well-placed opportunist credited with advancements in cellular repair to slow aging. Liara Akimura was the foremost specialist in telomerase enzymes to aid cell replication. Let me see if I can get rid of this hyphen. Yes. Tello Murray advanced understanding of quantum metabolism, and his wife, Eve Murray, discovered protein. I can't bring that metabo. Let's do metabolism. Bolism. And his wife, Eve Murray, discovered protein-based consciousness encoding, unlocking potentially infinite reality sublayers. This protected sentience from invasive thought surveillance, which heightened the socio-political intrigue under the dome, where warring factions both supported and opposed the dehubertons. I'm going to write support and oppose. I'm not going to make it past tense. Okay. The dehuberton, right. The is not capitalized on dehubertons, right? Who gets to live? As sentients age, their minds are kept sharp by the latest medical technology. However, their bodies unavoidably break down. Senses dull, organs fail, and skin deteriorates. This explains the many host body avatars present, ranging from simple masks or coverings to whole body replacement by robotized parts. But what of the worthiness question? Who is allowed to live so many extra decades under the care of the dome? Naturally, it is the expert class, the scientists, historians, engineers, and soldiers that have irreplaceable knowledge. But it's also ultra-wealthy heirs who still hold password-protected codes to large fortunes or cached stockpiles of value. Thus, the dome houses thousands of diametrically opposed elders, but how long can it maintain neutrality? All good?
Yeah.
All right. So that is inside front cover, inside back cover, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of zine pages and stuff. So we're completely done until the business card and that ad you're working on right there, and ready for print. All the other pages ready for print. Everything's ready for print, but
You gotta send me copies.
Gotta gather it all. Yeah. So, a couple of these pages I can export now.
Well, I would love to see the lettered turbo version pages. They were supposed to get up on the FTP.
Okay, let's see. I might have those on this computer right here. Let's see if I did the transfer yet. So do mags and then turbo 2 folder. No, turbo folder. No, here do mag number 1 folder. All right. Updated April 26th. Turbo 13 to 18 pages. This doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
because
that's what it
2 more
is. 13 to 20.
Yeah, but we added 2 more.
13 to 20.
Yeah, I only have 18 here. So I got to give page 19, 20. Yeah, these are all lettered. So I have up to 18 here.
I thought you lettered 19
I
to
did it.
20.
I did. I just got to bring it over from the white.
Okay. Okay.
Let's do that right now.
Oh boy.
We're doing stuff here, man.
This is exciting.
This isn't cheese popcorn. This is like production, man.
Cheese popcorn.
Where's my look? Does this substitute for a keychain drive? Is this thing trustworthy? I hope so. Here we go. Sticking it in the computer. I had a different one handy, but I don't see it at the current moment. All right. I'm gonna have to quit Quark here because it's gonna crash anyway. And one thing I also do every once in so often is I make a backup of the file just in case. And now it hasn't gone stinky on me ever, really, but just in case, I'm going to back it up. And then when I do that, I throw out the old backup. I just call it BU throw out. All right. Now, where's Turbo? Last 8 pages, 300 DPI. Huh? Page 28, 27. What's all that? Turbo. Oh, you sent me. Oh, the last page is inked. So that's all for me to letter. Oh my God. 21 to 28. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages to letter.
Yep.
That's exciting, man.
It is. We're rolling. And once again, let's remind ourselves, we're also figuring out our process as we go along, editing, if you will, in future ways, how to and not to go about this.
What is this? This has a date of 2027 on it.
Oh wow. You're even working in the future, Jake.
All right. Yeah, because I'm listing all here pages, Turbo pages 13 to 20. Bum, bum, bum. All right, so the last page was worked on was page 20 flat and page 19 flat. That's what we're looking for here. I'm putting them on the keychain drive. They are moving over. Yeah, we're done, man.
You keep saying that. I'm not 100% in the certainty realm as you. Oh, hey, I got a question here real quick. I keep forgetting to ask. It seems minimal. You have this blood dripping kind of like, is this what I'm supposed to interpret as? Like, and then would this all back here be black?
Show it again.
So it's the upper right left-hand corner. There's like a line you have drawn.
Yeah, there's blood dripping all over her face.
Okay. Well, no, all over her face, but it's right here.
I'm looking right at it right here.
Okay. All right. Can I go ahead and make this all black up here? And then this is blood dripping. Yeah, this is all blood dripping, but this would all be black. You would put white knockout text there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It doesn't have to be 100% black, but as long as the text reads, like you might want to make it some R-Crumb shading or something, but I guess you're figuring out how to tone the page. I mean, if you want my opinion, there's actually some dead space here above the word turbo, so maybe if that's darkish, we could lay on some text above that. If it's lightish, we could lay dark text above it. But this is a perfect place for some quark, copy.
Yeah.
You got all the smoke on the right, and then I guess I didn't think that out too much. Some of these pencil pages I might have thought I was going to come back to, but then it just got to be a rush, and I just sent them to you. Matter of fact, I have page 2 on the scanner, don't I? Oh no, I don't. Okay. I did the ad, not page 2. So let's take a look at page 2, because did I finish the damn thing?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's pretty much done. I mean, I can tighten up his face a little bit. Yeah. I got a lot tighter later. Honestly.
In issue 2?
No, yeah, the later pages.
Right.
This is maybe like a more abbreviated style on page 1 and 2. And then I got
the date. So everybody knows this page was penciled November of 2022.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So that was our first year. We started in April 2022. And you had gotten from April to November, page 1 penciled.
Wow, I should put the dates on all those pages, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, just having that, though, gives a good reminder and indicator of, once again, how we roll here. No hate. Maybe some frustration, but
well, yeah, of course. There's always craziness involved.
Well, what happens is, I know for me, I can speak for myself, is I get in a productivity mode. And I was saying that earlier, is that I get into waves of production. Like I need to, like right now I'm working on 11-page inking job that'll be in World Anthology 2 with pencils by Jamie Barrows, and the story was written by him, and I am having one great time.
Oh wow!
Check out that. Look at that background there. That's like some magic something or other. But some amazing pages. And some really good stuff. But it's like working in waves. Like like I say, I did the opposite. I've been doing turbo pages. So another turbo pages, I do the skeletal black inking. So I ink the page, I scan it. It could just run as that. But then I do my liquid masking and then my water-soluble graphite, and then erase that, dry and erase that, and then start playing with all the tone and texture. Here, the first thing I did was it was light pencils, in a scan. And then I just started drawing with the white, it's a blue. There it is. The Molotov liquid masking pen. And then some of this Winsor Newton brushed on. And then when I was working on the pages, I got them wet with the water-soluble graphite. And then I had spray paint nearby. So cans of Liquitex. And so I was shooting spray paint. But this page, other than having to add the black ink lines of this guy's 2 hands because he's blowing up, this was, and then outlining it here, this is the effect that I had gotten out of doing all that effects on there, which is so cool. So, so now I'm coming back in sort of a final.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
So he gave that to you pencils and inks, and then you're just giving it a
No,
once a
no,
week?
just pencils. Just the pencils. Like here, I can show you the pencils because they are in World Anthology number 2's mock-up. Here they are right here. So these
Well,
are just this. Huh?
So what are you showing me? That's
These are the pencils.
Yeah, but then you're showing me pencils and inks.
And then these are the inks.
So who inked it?
This is me.
Oh,
This is Jamie's. This is Jamie's pencil. Jamie Barrow's pencil.
Yeah, that inks looks a little different from your
It was a different approach. But I'm not changing my approach on the turbo pages. I'm staying with the original approach I had with issue 1, which is because the consistency is basically that. But I like working in waves is my point, and feeling a sense of productivity and progress as it moves along.
Yeah,
so,
I can totally understand that. Like you're talking about the Jacob Lawrence thing. Jacob Lawrence was a African American painter, Harlem Renaissance, and he would lay out like 10 or 12 paintings all out on these tables at the same time. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, hey, I kind of do that. And then, but then I started doing it more because I was like, yeah, Jacob Lawrence. So when I'm doing those faces, I might have like 6 or 7 of them. And I was like, all right, I'll get some yellow paint out. Now I'm going to go into every one of them, put some yellow paint on, and I do it with comics too. When I'm inking, I'm coloring, colored pencils, whatever I have, I just move through a whole portfolio full of unfinished artwork. Sometimes I do that on the air too. But I understand. So I do need to get you some more scans at a time.
Well, because then what'll happen is my brain will shift into progress mode on those pages. Like it's also like a scheduling system boots in. Like I can kind of look at the work and say, oh, okay, well, I need the next X amount of days, weeks, months in order to accomplish how I feel I want these pages to be completed. Because I'm anti industrialized productivity. In other words, this whole idea that I'm going to make myself look so delicious that somebody's going to want to hire me to bring me into their productivity of making a comic book. I would love to ink other people's comics, but I think I've shot myself in the foot for some sense of where people are like, well, he doesn't really work within a set timeline per se, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not like every day I'm working on crom pages when I'm not working on turbo pages. That's not the truth. I work maybe 3 hours, 3 days a week on crom pages, and that's just allocated time, because I have other things I need to be doing business wise. So it's, but I can hold this all in my head. And also see the productivity coming along. But yes, when, and I'll apologize, for being a bit anxious than I usually am at the beginning. The frustration comes into that, I just want to see all the pencils that have been made, in physicality, because I'm a physical person. But then once I have the pages, my anxiety would settle because then I go, oh, okay, well, then this is like the next 8 months of work. Like this is taking us through next year. So there's no wondering anymore. It's sated. I'm good. That's what it is. So right now it's a lot of feeling up in the air about where we're moving into next, or at least what I'm moving into next, in the productivity, because I would hate to start doing stuff that's not completely assigned to Turbo Pit Fighter issue number 1, if not issue number 2. Because the idea is 3 hours every Sunday is some decent productivity.
Yeah, was I able to email it to you last time?
What?
Page 1?
You did, yeah. Which I think
Okay.
you reduced it to like 300 DPI, or I don't
No,
remember.
I don't think so. I reduced it to 444. I always keep everything 444.
A
And that was,
JPEG?
yeah, I made it a JPEG. And I'm doing the same thing now, uncompressed JPEG. But for some reason now it's only 20 megs instead of 29. And it's like send as email, and I'm like, yes. So I just sent it, and I think it went out. Yeah, it went out. Okay, good. So it's on it. So that page 2 is on its way to you. And now I'm going to take the scanner out and put
Got it.
the.
Got it. Oh man, this is great.
Yeah. So if you look at page 1 and 2 versus like what comes next, like I think the page with Embra, we started to get a little tighter and tighter and tighter, and then things get really, really tight. So
Embra.
there's not too much like thinking for you to do as far as like line work later on, but there is a little thinking for you to do as far as line work on that first or second page. I think I just started a little bit more loosey goosey. That's all.
Yeah, it was right at the beginning of us deciding to do this at all.
2022. Oh my god! So I
2022.
I got to put the dates on these pages when I get back
Yeah,
to
man.
them. All right, now I'm taking my keychain drive and I'm moving the pages 19 and 20 into the final folder for printing. And I have some stuff from 2027, sure enough. Where are pages 19, 20? Here they go, flat, okay. Now everything's all together, one happy family. Except I have to change the folder name to Turbo 13 to 20. Right, otherwise we would have had 2 more zine pages to do instead of lettered those
Yes.
pages.
Yes.
Right.
You came up with the genius idea of just keep lettering, because you were already lettering the turbo pages. You're like, if I do 2 more pages, then we don't have to do 2 more zine pages.
Yeah, it's a
Bye-bye.
lot quicker to letter for me for that. I did that in maybe a page a day. All right, now here I'm gonna have to FTP it to you, right?
What is this again?
I got all the pages.
Oh yeah. You definitely have to set up an FTP.
Okay. Well, let's go. So I use an FTP client called Fetch,
Yeah, I
and it's
remember
from the
it.
and I send them like $20 every couple of years for an upgrade. But it's served me very well over the years. If I can, as long as I can remember my login.
Yeah, I was a big coffee cup guy.
Yeah, my server space is getting expensive. I think I'm up to 28 a month for my server space. I don't know if that's a lot, but
Nah, that's pretty standard.
yeah. I mean, I'm having a shit of a time with these email forwarding. So like, if you send do me a favor, send me something to jake@doommags.com right now, and
All
let's
right.
see if it comes. I got to see if it comes. Um, I made a Doomags folder, right? Oh no, I have to go to AOK Pub first. AOK Pub. Doomags. Okay. This is Turbo 1. I already uploaded Turbo 1. We uploaded 12 pages already. So Should I just put them? I'll put them in the same folder.
The letter pages 13 to 20.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just gonna put them in the same folder as the first 12 pages.
That's fine by me. That's fine.
Here we go.
It's
All right.
logical. It's logical, Captain. Hey, Najari, what's her hair color?
Dark, I think.
Not is she black haired, dark brunette?
Yeah, I've been making it not the blackest, just maybe like the brown, maybe brown,
brunette,
auburn. Yeah, auburn. I mean, that's the thing about shiny hair technique is like you're putting more lines in if it's dark, you're putting less lines in if it's blonde, but it's all the same technique. I wanted to ask you a question about scanning because when I'm zooming in really close to some of these Pearl White Malady pages,
yeah,
it's out of focus in some little tiny little areas.
Yeah,
And
that's the reflective quality of the scanner and the wobbliness of the page.
So it could be like vibration of the scanner.
It could just be the way that the paper is not all the way flat. Like I put a piece of cardboard. I cut out a piece of 13 by 19 cardboard.
Yeah.
Like this cardboard, the back of like a drawing pad. And then I put that on top of the scan to try to flatten it as flat as possible. Because then when you don't have that, there's a lip. There's a lip around the scanner, which is like, like 2 millimeters. Yeah, it's like it's really, but that's enough for the paper to kind of like buckle just a little bit. And then, so when that reflective light comes through, something that's closest or touching the glass will be sharp. And then something leaving just a little bit away from the glass will go blurry.
Yeah. So I think that's what it is because a lot of these pages, I mean, these are like kids doing this. So a lot of these pages get water damage.
Yeah.
And that must be what it is. So I'm glad I asked you, and I need to start putting in that cardboard backing to flatten the thing up and mush it down really good.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of it's not worth redoing any scans, I don't think, but it's
Yeah, but like you say, you see it when you get up at like 300%.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I see the same thing too. The other thing too is that I don't do it as often because I actually kind of enjoy it sometimes in the way, because my pages are purposely, like the buckling effect on my pages is, I'm never going back to having a flat. And even if it is, because they're already warped, there are spaces where they can't become completely flat because it's already warped the page. I used to stick the weight bottom to like a standing lamp that had like it was a big standing lamp, and the base was like, I don't know, it's probably like 10 pounds. So I used to stick that on top of the scanner just to be able to get it to really press down with the cardboard on top of that. But I'm not that peculiar anymore. I'm not like dying on that road. But look at that, people. Look at that.
You darkened it up nice.
Yeah, this is just my copy to reference. I still have to print out the 13 by 19, but my printer is already crying it needs ink. So I just got to change out. I got to change out the ink before I go and print out, which is weird because even when I just do black, it's still pulling some of the other colors. But man, this is so much fun. Whew! So exciting. Whew! All right, we are at the 11 o'clock mark. Just so nobody feels too abrupt, we are going to pull. Bill we will be completed at 11:30 because I have a hard out because I need to go to the family Father's Day event at 12 o'clock. So, and I'm the one who's responsible for bringing the chips and dip. And my sisters bring the salad. I know the sandwiches. So, yeah. So just to give you a heads up. But man, just for well, we've been at this for 2 hours. We've got we've got a lot done.
Why are we on such a delay on the YouTube?
That's how it always is.
Yeah, but we're way back.
Yeah.
No, we're usually only a couple seconds behind.
The lag?
Yeah.
No, I've seen it where we've been. It's been pretty heavy. It's been pretty heavy.
Oh my god! So I gotta put the dates on these pages. That's like 10 minutes ago.
Right.
I've never had that. We've never had that before. We've only been mere seconds behind. That's weird. Maybe OBS is not the same as Riverside with that.
It's definitely because we are porting through OBS to YouTube. So there's latency. The other thing too is that both you and I are doing emailing and scanning, and that will drive the latency. That'll drive the latency up.
Yeah, mine anyway. Yeah, so I just uploaded all the pages to the FTP.
Yeah, that's probably what did it for you on your side. On my side, let me see where we're at. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we're about like a minute.
So what I want to do is I want to fix. All right, we're in really good shape.
Yes, we are.
I want to fix up. There was a graphic that we're going with of I think the sentient, and I wanted to fix it up because you put in some inks and tones, but then when you did the letters, you just kind of like started it off, and I need to finish it up. So I'm gonna find that graphic and use my time now to update that. Sentience, is it raw scan? No, it had to be a TIFF. This is from the end of the world timeline index, right? Where is that? Sentient pick. Reba Novagora, Sentient. No, this has got to be older. I don't want to have to open up Quark again to find what it's called.
It has to be sentient.
I know. But I didn't find it when I just did a search for sentient. Sentient, the only thing I have is a PSD file. Or here it's a JPEG. Let's try this JPEG. Alright, it might be this, but why does Quark let me place JPEGs sometimes, but then not others? Number one. Number two, how do I
used to hate JPEGs.
Well, I don't think they were compatible with Quark before. Or maybe some are, some aren't.
I think there was I remember there was a time, and this is what would drive the paintball and printer people crazy, is that if I left one JPEG in the file, I had to get them the TIFF version or the bitmap version of that. And this was pre, you couldn't email it. So I'd have to drive the northern side of Philadelphia at like 3:30 in the morning to basically deliver that. And it would always be in a situation where I was working so quickly that I thought I had grabbed the JPEG because there was a last minute change. I thought I grabbed the TIFF, and I actually grabbed the JPEG. and I saw no difference. And I think it was something between like the fact that there was a TIFF in there when it was getting proofed, it generated a higher resolution. And then when the JPEG came in, it just kind of like aped off of the TIFF. But
Well, when you're saving a TIFF, you have a choice for your preview. Remember?
yes. Now I do.
The picked, right? So you could
Yes,
have the
yes. Yeah.
picked file. That
Uh-huh.
was Apple's first proprietary file format. The picked file.
Picked. Yep.
Yeah, people are probably thinking like, "What are we talking about?" But we've been doing electronic press stuff for 20 years.
No, well, you were the one that forced me to get. This is professionally forced me to get a computer because you were getting so much backlog on the catalog work, and you just needed somebody you wanted to send the files to basically just dump everything onto the page. Paying. I mean, I had the money to buy the computer. I just never had a reason to pull the trigger. But when you were like, yeah, I can send you a check for X amount of money, I was like, oh shit. And all I have to do is sit there and dump everything, from this, like, yeah. And you need
you ended
FedEx.
up doing that. You ended up doing page layout anyway for the paintball plays, right?
Well, exactly, because that was a lie I had told the guys. I had the computer for a month and a half. And my girlfriend at the time was a big newspaper reader. She was one of these cranky people that if she didn't read the newspaper every day, if she didn't read the newspaper, she was cranky. So she calls me from work saying, "Hey, you've got to come over and I got to show you something I saw in the newspaper." And I was like, "What? Like right now?" She's like, No, you have to. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I go and see her and she shows me and it says, Paintball Magazine needs cover artist. Call Mike at this number, right? It's a classified ad in paper. And I'm like, what's this? And she's like, you just got a computer, right? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, you could do this. And I'm like, not really. I'm just laying out magazines for, catalogs for Jake. I'm like, I'm not, I don't know, maybe.
Wait,
so
what were you doing for me? You were doing.
You remember what was it was the
autograph company?
Yeah, there's the autograph company. So you had, it was that or maybe something else, but you had just said, look, dude, I can pay you, and you told me the amount of money, and back then it was a lot of money, to just lay the whole damn thing out.
Yeah,
and then but it wasn't like, it was literally just like, take the copy, put it in a text file, put the photos in, just lay it all down, like just throw it in that container, and then you got it, and you would have and then you took it home, like you took it off, from there.
It might have been a different client because client everything was in Quark.
It was yes, whatever was it was, and I had to learn Quark too.
Oh, you had Quark,
dude. All of this is because of you. The story.
Well, how can you learn Quark now?
Well, I mean, in all sincerity, when we moved to Flash, and then I got out of Quark probably in 2003. Well, because it also was not updating.
$1,000 program even back then.
I understand, but I never looked back. And then when I got back, the only time I started using desktop publishing was 2010 or 11. And I kind of still do it this way. Actually, I do it this way. I do every page in Photoshop as PSD files and then compress them to PDF files or JPEGs, then gather them and compress them into PDF files and then collect all the PDF files into one container. So.
Yeah, and for folks that are listening, I hope you appreciate how easy life is nowadays, because back in the old days, I mean, first of all, before computers, everything had to be pasted up with with rubber cement and X-Acto knives, right? Everything had to be printed out, and like that's why the laser printer was such a revolutionary
Yeah.
invention, because now it was good enough for camera ready copy to just type something out and print it on a laser writer, whereas before that it had to be all done on by hand, by paste ups.
Yeah.
So now you change the whole world, because there was a whole industry of they were called pre-press. They were called what were they called? The house something house. You used to have to go to a type house, or a stat house. You used to have to get stats made, and this goes for Marvel, DC, all of these guys. Every time you want, like, let's say you had somebody work on the Avengers masthead, and you want to use it for another issue, you needed to go get a photostat made.
Well, everything
right?
had to be photo ready. That was the whole idea of paste up in the beginning.
Yeah, and
That
there
was
was
that
some
was just so.
Veloxes,
Yep.
and it was like, I don't know, $6 or something. You would go to one of these type houses, and they would have all these machines there, and they would be grouchy, and the people would be like rushing them for deadlines. Hey, I have an ad that's got to be in Reader's Digest tomorrow. I need that Velox. And I used to pay for this too. I used to go down, and they were like service. They were called service bureaus.
Yep.
I remember, yeah, service bureaus. And they would have all different machines, and one of the machines was a phototypositor, which would be like you can type out stuff in like 20 different fonts and 20 different sizes, and it would give you, ad copy that was camera ready. And so I hope everybody understands what you have nowadays at your fingertips. I mean, and now, like, people don't barely even need to print it anyway for anything, but
Yeah.
but the ability to print that out on a 300 DPI laser printer took away all this business from these service bureaus, because they were giving it to like 1200 DPI photo real resolution and everything, and it just wasn't necessary anymore. And if you look nowadays, under a loop, if you have a microscope or a magnifying glass or a loop, a loop is really powerful. They use for jewelry and stuff. If you look under a loop, you'll see in a printed book nowadays in Barnes and Noble that the letters are jaggy, right? And that was never a thing before. Before, everything was like, the lithographic plate, typeset from, like high quality, like, at least 1200 DPI, because that's what the machines were all built to do, to try to be, indiscernible from the human eye, whether this is a photograph or a printout, right? So 1200 DPI is like the highest you get, and you can't see the jaggies under a loop. But if you look at any book off the shelf now, it's probably just all printed with a laser printer.
Yeah.
The galleys, what they call the galley copy. But yeah, Kurt and I are just like old seasoned dogs that that been through all this in the 90s.
I loved post production. I used to. I can't even say work. I volunteered at a local. It was called Big Shout Magazine. It was basically the culture and arts music magazine for Wilmington, Delaware. That got circulation up into Philadelphia. So I would do spot illustrations. I would do page layouts. So the pay, I would get paid like $5 for spot illustrations. But they really didn't need them a lot, but they did need me to like photostat stuff and then cut and paste and everything. So I worked a deal out with the owners where I would come in pretty much anytime they needed me, which was basically the deadline week, right? and I would get fed. If I worked longer than 3 hours, they bought me lunch or dinner. And I always, during that time and a little bit outside of it, could use their photostat machine. So I could
Yeah.
come in and then
Now we know why you're really there.
Right. Because that was like, that's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. Now, I didn't need it a lot. It was basically some clients wanted me to procure the photostats and then mail them in because they just were literally just going to take that and then lay it in. And that was just some of the Dungeons and Dragons type table stuff I was doing at the time. But the thing was, is I would charge them what the stat price was, but then I would get it for free and I'd pocket the money.
Yeah,
and I get lunch, for dinner, and and I get $5. I get like $15 for 3-spot illustrations. This was like the end of every month.
You're
and that was the dude, man. That's the only way you could live back then.
Scammer Della.
Scammer Delaware. Good times. I loved it.
Well, I did it.
Production.
I did it like day in, day out as a day job. I worked at Printech, which was a printing press company in Stamford, and they had big presses. They were converting everything to digital, and I was the art department guy, digital department guy. So I did it all day. So it wasn't as fun for me, but
sure.
Definitely I learned a lot. And the funny thing is like all that stuff we learned and we practiced, we used to have the software and like figure out how to use it and download it. It's all meaningless now. It's not a skill that translated into the future.
It is in some ways though, for like the pre-production, I think is a really like knowing the layout type of part of it and stuff. But like, I think you really should understand the resolution and the quality and the file like types and sizes when you're making your books. I mean, comics specifically. I'm using all of the things I learned in Photoshop. I'm actually teaching myself a new layout magazine piece of software. I think it's called Scribed with a D. Script now, something else. It's Scribed or something.
Okay.
I got my printer's cranky right now. But anyhow, it is to be, because I want to do more type flow through pages and then start laying out the design.
Well, this is where Adobe really sucks nowadays, because Adobe has InDesign, but I don't.
Scribus is the software I'm learning right now. So, but
yeah.
it's all going back into my my Quarkday database and all the stuff in my head from back, because it's all the same, post production, right?
Yeah. Pre-press.
Pre-press, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, nowadays people use Canva, and they're like, you pick out a template, and it does everything for you, and then you're off and running. So, it's like the shit we had to go through in the day, like Xeroxes, but you couldn't Xerox it too many generations.
Yeah.
And then you need a laser printer, then you would need to go to a service bureau. Oh my God. So
the best thing nowadays offers us is we do not have to get 250 comic books printed. You can get one comic book printed, and it doesn't cost you an arm and leg just to get the one comic book printed. So you have a lot more leeway.
Yeah, that's quick printing. And that also revolutionized comics, because now every little creator in every little town can print their little 50 comics and not have to break the bank getting. Before, when it was just offset, you had to get like 300 comics to get a print job, you know.
Yep.
So that's not there anymore. But you know, but now you also have AI too, and you know, I imagine it's going to be like lay out a page, you know, put all this text in, intersperse graphics, find clip art, you know, and it just like hit a button. And I guess that's where we are.
Yeah, PDF, Adobe Acrobat, they have that now. So every time that I go to make a combined PDF file, so I collect all the JPEGs and then turn them into a PDF, I have two decisions to make. I can either just do it the custom way, or they call it the creative way, which is basically just a big window opens up and you dump all the files in there. Then they have them. Then you see them all laid out, and then you can on the side you can start prompting, and then it starts generating everything off to the left. So,
Yep, that's where we are. The computer is doing it all. But people say like AI is going to kill jobs and everything. Digital has been killing jobs for decades.
It's been making jobs. I mean, come on, let's stop
well,
hyperbolically
and certain
crying.
Jobs, and
certain jobs can go away. Yes, I get that part, but it's not killing.
Yeah, there used to be a job called a stripper, and a stripper was not a pole stripper. It was a guy that used to use these big sheets of goldenrod to mask out everything that was going to press for to make a plate. And people don't realize, like, if you handed in some camera ready art and it was like some text that was pasted or glued down to a board and a photo there's a lot of stuff that's going to print that you don't want, like the edge of the photo, the edge of the paste up, like little black lines, little thin lines. It's all going to print. And there was a job, a full-time job, a union job, a lot of places, that a stripper would cut out these pieces of goldenrod. It was very wasteful too, to make sure that all those little edges and all these little corners and any kind of stain on the paper or any kind of discoloration or anything.
All right, we got 5 minutes, Jake. We should start wrapping this up, so I'm not late with the chips and dips for the daddies.
Right. Okay, so we will not do a flip through segment today, but we will we'll be happy to see you guys all next Sunday. And yeah, I have only 5 more days of school. 4 of those days are just field trips, because God knows there's no learning going on anymore for the taxpayer's dollar. But this is June. I mean, at least we're not showing movies. That's what most schools do. We're taking kids out on field trips and building character and building community and all that great stuff. And we're seeing stuff. But they also don't give you any school buses this time of year, so you're taking the train or you're walking everywhere. But yeah, we're getting down to the best part of the year, the summertime, where Jake can have a lot more free time than usual. And we're also getting down to some convention crunches here, where I'm trying to get some stuff done, and it looks like it's just going to make it. So really happy about that. But yeah, thanks for popping in today. Saboteur was a guest. Saboteur asked the question, is Quark still around? That would be a no. No support
other than on Jake's laptop.
Other than, yeah, unless you have a grandfathered in, copy. LOL, the printing days were such a good time with everyone mad and semi-high from all the fumes. I guess you're talking about the rubber cement, but there was all kinds of other. I mean, Kurt's using that fixative right now, or spray can, whatever he's got. He's talking a mile a minute. Let's see. LOL, I wanted to be a stripper. Those rooms were so cool, and the light boxes. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the light box.
I worked at a printing company, and the stripper was this really uptight guy because he knew the writing was on the wall, and a lot of the jobs that he was doing were like old jobs where you would like pull out old pages and archives and just rerun ads and stuff like that. So they needed him still to be around to find all that old stuff and like archive it and categorize it and everything. But he knew, like I represented to him, like Jake over in that digital design department, they just press buttons, and they give you everything you want. And we weren't just doing printouts at where I worked. We were outputting to straight to film negatives.
Wow.
Very expensive.
All right, take us out. Coming up on 11:30. Sorry, bud. Gotta grow.
Oh yeah, well I want to tell you next week the funny story about the stripper. But thanks, Saboteur, for participating. Folks, go to our landing page on YouTube. You can see tabs there for all of our offerings. We have the Comics That Influence, where we do flip throughs. We have the indie creator interviews going back years, and you can binge all the episodes. So go to Turbo Pit Fighter on YouTube and check us out online on Twitter and Instagram at DoomMags. And other than that, we will see you next Sunday at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Ciao for now.
See you next Sunday, Jake.
Later.